For the second half of our week, here within the first week of the semester, you will notice a file provided to you, Inventory and Raises. Let's first click on the Raises tab and go through quickly our 3 questions. First, you're asked to calculate your raise, $40,000 a year, plus a 5% raise. So how do we calculate? We need to utilize our 40,000, and then we need to multiply it by something. Do we simply multiply it by the 5% raise? No, we need to multiply it by itself plus the 5% raise. So we multiply it by 1.05, which provides us with our yearly salary of 42,000, which is 40,000 plus the 5% raise. Next, we're asked to determine what our raise would be if we make $45,000 next year. Well, we've only made $40,000 this year. So how do we calculate this? We need to divide 5,000 by our current salary of 40,000. Where do we get the 5,000 from? Well, the 5,000 is simply the 45,000 minus the 40,000. So we complete this. We're provided with 0.125. However, we need to format this cell. So we right-click, Format Cells, and we make this into a percentage. We click OK. Our raise for that year is 12.5%. Our next question asks us, what percentage did our pay drop by? Well, we are paid $13.22 in the summer, and our pay is going to drop to $11.22. So how do we calculate this? First, we need to take 2 and divide it by our current wage of $13.22. Where did we get the 2 from? Similar to above. We subtract our $13.22 from our $11.22. We get this big elongated number here. Again, we right-click, we format, we change it into a percentage, and we see that our percentage pay dropped 15.13%. We then navigate over to our inventory analysis page tab within Excel. You'll notice there are multiple min and max questions asked of you. In order to determine the max of the unit cost, we enter equals and use our max function. We type the word max. We enter a specific parameter, which in this case is our unit cost. We highlight all of our unit costs, and we close out the formula. Within Excel, you could always check in the formula bar in case you're not following along and cannot see within the specific cell. We click Enter. We notice our maximum value is the Elon Musk autographed Tesla. We then click back within the cell, and we notice that a little black check mark or plus appears. We want to drag that over to the next cell. This will populate the formula for that file, for that section in this area. We are now provided with the max unit sales price, which again is the Elon Musk autographed Tesla. Now for these sections, we need to calculate the min. The min is the minimum. We again highlight our specific parameters, and we notice that the cheapest item is the Tom Hanks autographed copy of The Terminal. We again autofill over to check the min of unit sales price, and we find here that the minimum item is the Judge Judy autographed gavel. Within your homework assignment related to this, you'll notice you're asked the average, the min, and the max for cost of average inventory, annual sales, cost of goods sold, also referred to as COGS, annual gross profit, and gross margin ratio. In order to do this quickly, we will type in our average function. We will highlight our range. We will press enter. You'll notice that we get an error message here because there's no information provided within the cells that it is referencing. We'll drag this over using our autofill. We get the same thing. Once numbers are populated within these cells, we should be good to go. We then calculate our min the same way we did previously. We will autofill those through. Then we will complete our maximum function in a similar fashion. And autofill that through. So how do we calculate our cost of average inventory? You'll notice below here I've provided you with the formulas for each of these sections. It is unit cost times the average on hand, which in this case refers back to our C column multiplied by our E column. When you have that completed, you'll press enter. You'll notice within Excel to multiply, you need to use the Control 8, which gives you the asterisk, which is the multiplication symbol in Excel. Once you've hit enter, you should now autofill through to cell 11 to provide you with all of the cost of average inventory. Now, in order to compute annual sales, we need the unit sales price times the average unit sales per year, which in this case is D, unit sales price, multiplied by our F, which is our average unit sales per year. We enter, we autofill that down through cell 11, and you'll notice our average, our minimum, and our maximum are beginning to populate. Now, for cost of goods sold, we need to multiply our unit cost by our average unit sales per year. Our unit cost, again, is in cell C. And we also need our average unit sales per year, which we previously identified in F. Again, we enter, we autofill down, and we have now populated all of the costs of goods sold. Next, for annual gross profit, we calculate annual sales minus costs of goods sold. Equals H is our annual sales minus I, which is our cost of goods sold. We enter, we receive our number, we autofill down through cell 11. Next, we need to calculate our gross margin ratio, which you'll notice is annual gross profit divided by annual sales per unit. Our annual gross profit, as identified, is J. Divided by our annual sales per unit, which is H. You'll notice this is already set up for you as a percentage. You autofill down, and you have your percentage for each section. Next, we need to calculate our markup based on cost, which you'll notice here is the unit sales price minus the unit cost divided by the unit cost. Our unit sales price is D, and our unit cost is back in C. So then we need to divide again by the unit cost, which again is C. Once we hit enter, we'll notice that there is a pretty high markup on this particular item. We auto-fill down, and we see that most of these items have been marked up pretty high. Next, we need to calculate the total cost of average inventory. But do we really? No. We already have this within cell G, our cost of average inventory. So once we select that and click enter, you'll notice we just refer to G2. We drag and auto-fill down. For total annual gross profit, you'll notice the same thing. We already have this referenced in J. We select, we enter, we auto-fill down. Next, we have total of cost of goods sold. Again, we already have this. Within I, we enter, we auto-fill down. Total annual sales, again, we already have. Within H, we enter, we auto-fill down. You'll notice when completing your homework assignment the importance of doing it this way. You'll then notice the percentage of total annual sales within Q. How do we calculate this? We need to utilize our annual sales, our total annual sales, and then divide this by P12. However, we have nothing in P12. However, we need to make this an absolute. In order to make something an absolute, you put a $ before the P and the 12, the row and column. You'll notice we have an error because we do not have anything in P12 yet. However, you will notice when we auto-fill down that in each specific cell now, only the first parameter changed. That is what an absolute reference does. It does not allow you to change that specific area. However, we now need to go back and calculate the total for the 4 areas here that we previously copied from other cells. In order to do that, we need a sum function. We type in equals sum. We highlight our necessary parameters. We hit enter. We have our total for that column. We can now drag over and autofill. You'll notice now that we are provided with our percentage of total annual sales. You will notice one specific item has nearly 75% of our overall sales. You'll then notice important columns related to the homework assignment. First, unit cost increased by 5%. If you recall, our unit cost is way back in column C. So what we need to do is multiply column C by 1.05. This multiplies C2 by itself as well as the 5% increase. We hit enter, we autofill down. Next, we need to determine the unit sales price increase by 3%. Our unit sales is way back in column 2, D. D2 is our first unit sale, so we need to multiply this by 1.03 to represent the 3% increase. We enter, we autofill down. Next, we need to determine an average unit sales per year decrease by 1%. We do this a little different. We recall our average unit sales per year is way back in column F. So we take F2 and we subtract it by itself, multiplied by 0.01, which is the 1% decrease. We enter, we autofill down. Next, we need to calculate the new total company annual sales. In order to do this, we simply multiply our unit sales price increase by 3%, multiplied by our average unit sales per year decrease by 1%. Because we are now multiplying our new unit times our new price. We autofill this down to get for all specific items. And finally, we need to calculate our new total company annual gross profit. In order to do that, we need to utilize our new annual sales and subtract our new unit cost multiplied by our new number of units sold per year. Once we hit enter, we now autofill down through 11, and we now want to add these up. We use our sum function, highlight our range, close the parameter, and we now notice 24 million is our new total company annual gross profit. So we go back, we notice 24 million here, we go back to our previous total annual gross profit to compare.